It's Ramesh Srinivasan, and I love Ramesh. His new book is Whose Global Village? Rethinking How Technology Shapes Our World. It's right here. Look at this. Okay. So as usual, fascinating stuff. So let's dive in. We've got topics ranging from Facebook algorithm to fake news to indigenous cultures and their view on all of this and how they fit into the puzzle. And I like the question that the book posits: whose global village? Let's start with: is Facebook as important as we think it is in setting norms and news and all the things that are going on?
We increasingly, and we actually always have as humans, experienced what counts to us based on what we can find or what comes to us, right? And there are two platforms that are dominating the global experience, right? 2 billion people in the world, of what is or is not visible. You don't know something exists if it's not visible to you, right? And visibility is determined by these platforms. So absolutely, these platforms are not just connecting 2 out of the 7 billion people approximately in our world, but they are connecting 2 of the wealthiest of the 7 billion people in the world. So the meaning of algorithms, the power of algorithms, they saturate our lives. They are all around us all the time in any digital transaction that we make. So algorithms are basically increasingly part of our political and economic landscape, and they power these two systems that I'm speaking about. Facebook has become the face of news in the United States. So 70% of American adults, and there's about 75% of Americans that have Facebook accounts, more or less, 70% of American adults go to Facebook first for their news. And guess what's the most popular news website on Facebook? Do you want to guess?
Uh-oh.
It's not the Young Turks. It's a completely right-leaning website. It's Breitbart.
Breitbart's the most popular on Facebook?
The most popular news
measure?
website. By the measure of how many people are accessing Breitbart, circulating its stories, and actually how Breitbart's information is circulating through algorithms. And this is because it's not necessarily an intention of Facebook engineers or designers to make this possible. It's because of how big data billionaires like Robert Mercer, there's a Guardian article on this, have been able to manipulate the ways in which different types of information streams are working with Facebook's algorithms. So you can hustle on the level of like putting out your content through Facebook to manipulate where it's retrieved and what's visible and what isn't. And so that is really troubling for me. Our social networks on Facebook tend to be people, generally speaking, with whom we politically agree, right? And the algorithms curate what we call confirmation bias, right? Like stuff that's out there that you already agree with. Right? So this is creating these bubbles and filter bubbles and echo chambers, all this stuff that's like commonplace. But I think the real issue here is the transformation of our media industry into these platforms, right? These digital platforms that are pervasive yet completely opaque. They're black boxes. What Obama's campaign specialized in was gathering data analytics on small scale levels and being able to, and Dean did that too in the earlier campaign, right, when he was running against Kerry. But this is an interesting moment where now we have this internet troll who's our president, right? And this internet troll understands, because of the machinery behind him, how to manipulate messaging. It's like clickbait, right? Like meme type messaging that spirals out of control on platforms like Facebook. So we see this model where the internet is a central part of all these different political campaigns, but it went from an analysis of data to a manipulation of how data flows through our networks, how data flows through our platforms. So fake news is a construct. It's a manifestation. It's like a Frankenstein of an internet that's gone wild. I definitely believe, like on some like deeper level, like ethical level, that overcoming this fake news and trying to get to the points of truth and legitimacy and empiricism, all this stuff is worthwhile. But I think in the midterm elections, the Democrats got to play ball, right? They got to understand how to spread information that activates us, that gets us to not necessarily fake news through our own networks, but actually, almost propaganda, I believe. Like, I know that's a loaded word, but basically, the Democrats, people are just like, they're at a malaise with the Democrats, right? As we know. So I think the Democrats need to tap into the energetic base of social media virality, right? And so I think the Democrats should be hiring smart computer scientists. I want to work for progressives, people like ourselves who are thinking about media and networks and how to fight political power and build these movements out. So I really believe that's the short-term strategy. Invest resources in these kinds of phenomena, which Obama and Dean did a good job of back in the day. I just don't understand why the Clinton campaign did not understand what was happening right underneath their feet with these social media dynamics. We always create technologies in our own image because we think like we want to create tools and systems from the very beginning based on our idea of what the world is. Like you can't fault people for that. But the problem is they're not creating these tools and systems simply for them. Facebook is not just a community network at Harvard, right? The internet is not just a bunch of like hippies in Marin County that are online, which was like the first virtual community, the Well. The internet is global. It's a global phenomenon. It's a global village, right? So whose global village is it? That's the title of the book.